Start recording.
Oh my, there's a lot of windows open. Okay. Nope, don't want to do that.
welcome to another night of Relics of War. It's Monday night, it's 9 p.m. out here on the East Coast, and we have assembled some of the most fantastic players that exist to play this game called Dungeons & Dragons. We're playing 5th edition. We have fun time because 5th edition is a whole lot fast and loose compared to some earlier editions. And you know what? When we first started all the way back with Chainmail, that's exactly what we did. We had a fast, loose, fun time where we told stories together, rolled some dice to figure things out, and that's what we're going to be doing here tonight. We're going to be having some amazing role-playing, thanks to, in part, bringing together these amazing players. Cross-gender, cross-age, cross the country of the USA, we've assembled individuals, starting with Aria in the upper left corner of your screen. Aria, tell us how your week's been, what's going on, and introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Aria. I will be playing Ionia, the warlock with a cheerful disposition and a love of all things natural. My week's been pretty good. It's been pretty chaotic and pretty tiring. I've gotten a lot done this week, but I've also had a lot, like running to the eye doctor for an appointment, getting braces, long work days, so it's been a tiring week.
Well, welcome. We're glad we're having you here. Sorry your week's been tiring. Looks like I see some sort of like blanket or hospital gown or prayer shawl, something going on over your shoulders. What is that?
That's just a blanket because it's incredibly cold where I am.
Oh, I thought maybe that was like going to be part of your role playing that, you know, you were doing this whole, you know, like shawl thing over your shoulders or whatnot. Cool. Eric, how's your week been? What's going on? What are your plans for tonight?
My name's Eric. I'm playing Claymore, the wonderful, wonderful Warforged. But my past week's been pretty good, not gonna lie. Weekend was great, and you know, life's been good to me. As for what's, you know, I'm looking forward to tonight, honestly, anything, because it almost seems like every time that we play, there's always something great that's happening, and you know, I just try not to predict what's happening because I think that's just the best predicament or like best seat in the house. So. Yeah.
Wonderful. You know, expect the unexpected. Our first game, we actually opened up. The players all thought they were going to be playing their characters, and they were wondering how they were being carried around in this box, and a Warforged threw them all out, and then they realized, like, 7 minutes into the game, they were all kittens, and that was our first adventure. So, all right, let's jump over to Kitty. How's your week been, Kitty? What are you looking forward to tonight?
My week's been good. I'm looking forward to expecting the unexpected. And I'll be playing Lysander, the finder of lost things.
Wonderful. Well, we'll see what you can't find tonight. Make sure you keep looking, and we'll give you some dice rolls and see what things you might discover. Maybe it'll be a mustache. I don't know. I know Lysander's a little bit young for a mustache, but hey, you know, it could probably work. One dwarvish mustache. Please don't rob the dwarves of the beards they're actually wearing. Those are not glued on. They don't come off.
Anything can come off with a sword.
Oh my, I shouldn't have put this in your mind. All I'm hearing is challenge accepted. Brock, how's your week been? What are you looking forward to tonight?
Hello, everyone. I had a great week, very busy, 40-hour work week, and then 6 midterms passed.
Wow.
So, pretty exciting week here. Very, very much looking forward to just getting in and going at it here tonight. The last time we played, it went a little off from what I'm used to, but it went well. So
I promise there won't be any midterms on screen. No, we don't do that.
That you know of.
Your midterms consist of the boss battles and the sub-boss battles, and you know instantly whether you pass those or not because you're breathing at the end of them. Breathing's considered passing. With flying colors.
You think it's good?
Is it passing? Is
The pass-fail class, you live, you pass, you die, you fail.
But I think that depends on the objectives. Like, if your objective was to rescue someone and they die, did you really
That's why
pass?
we're taking it as a pass-fail class. So you're asking for it to be a graded class.
No, graded I think would be like if we save like most of her, but like she's, you know, a double amputee as opposed to like, you know, getting her out scratch free. I think that would be a graded class.
Yeah, but she's still alive, so.
Pass fail. Hence the pass fail part of that. If she's dead, you fail. If she's alive, you pass.
Yeah, but pass fail credits don't always transfer in. only in a D&D game.
Hey, as long as we're grading on a curve, I'm good.
You know, I've watched some of those past
curve of
fails
my
as
scimitar.
players have tried to bring their characters to another table, and suddenly you're looking and you're going, so you're level 5 and you have 3 legendary magic items already. Oh, and all your stats are like 15, 16 and better. And you're like, maybe pass fail. I don't know what that table was that gave you all that, but we play a little bit more hardball here. Even though Ebberon gives out lots of magic items, so it's really kind of awesome that way. Me, I've had a really, like yourselves, busy week on top of things, and yet we know from last week when we got together, we had some serious technical issues. We never did figure out if it was Twitter or whatnot because all our computers were running great, but that didn't stop us trying to solve the problem and plan ahead anyway. So we went out and bought a whole new gateway system, bringing together multiple components into one, and I never thought it would be here in time for tonight, and it was waiting in the mail last evening, special delivery. So we went out today, had everything switched over, worked with our technicians, and had all the wiring changed. So tonight it's all brought together, hopefully at a nice fast speed with no problems whatsoever. The one thing that I did notice was our reboot of all the separate components took us about 10 minutes before, and tonight we could actually, if something crazy happened, have the whole thing up and rebooted in about 3-4 minutes tops, and that's even with going back and forth between separate rooms. So that's always exciting. That being said, the most exciting thing is about to happen. We're 7 minutes in, and it's game time. It's time to do something truly amazing. Find out what these characters are at. So for our viewers who may or may not remember, we left off as these individuals inside of a, for lack of a better term, a dwarvish city of ancient times, meeting words that appear to be somewhat, shall we say, lacking true life. I don't really want to call them undead because they didn't look like skeletons, but they definitely did not have that robust glow. The characters met one another, found out that some of them actually remembered each other. Benoit was not remembered by anybody, though, and that seems strange in and of itself. They moved from high magic rooms that gave visuals through gems to other places to a dining facility where the Warforged decided that it's probably best not to eat his own. Yet, Ionia said that, you know what, whatever this goo is that you're made out of, it slurps down pretty good, and passed her out. And thus she ended up on the shoulder of this massive character played by Benoit, who's almost as big and bulky as a Warforged. Definitely, I think, even possibly even taller than the Warforged, though. He is a blend between a Goliath and an elf, if such a thing were to happen. And here is this scrawny for a Goliath, but oversized for an elf, ashen white individual who seems, as the players have found out, to know quite a bit about this place. We left off at our last session with Benoit carrying Ionia over his shoulder down the hallway. Lythander, or was it Claymore, quickly grabbing the staff of Ionia and running after him. Take it away, Benoit. Where were you headed?
Back to the control room. I'm heading in the direction of where I know I need to go after speaking with Aruf.
One of the things that the characters had picked up between the technical difficulties last week was that Benoit seemed to know, in a great many instances, where he was headed in this facility, whereas they did not. This was all foreign to them. And when Benoit approached the door last week, one of the questions I had asked him was, are you revealing to the characters how you're opening it? And he said yes. They actually saw him withdraw a special card from his inner, what was it, a lapel, a vest pocket, a pocket? Where did you draw that from? Because I don't remember exactly how your character's dressed.
I don't really want to call it a fanny pack, but it's kind of a little miniature satchel I have on my, side here.
Fanny pack.
It's Dungeons and Dragons, so I think everybody carries a man pouch of some sort. You know, some of us just carry bigger
No,
ones and call them
Lythander
backpacks.
carries sacks. He carries a fanny pack.
I'm a woman, can
Different.
confirm I carry a man pouch.
There's nothing but man pouches in this game.
Nothing but man pouches in this game, even for the female characters.
As long as they're not the man pouch that is like the muffin top that goes over your belt, because that's just a big belly. That's really not a man pouch.
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
But what if you wear it in the reverse of it? It looks like you have a bigger rump.
Oh.
Well, it depends. Is it going over the belt? Because a rump is usually under the belt. You know, I mean, if it's over the belt, that's just like
you could
back
just think of
fat
it as like a butt that starts too soon.
Back fat.
My. Yeah, this is really going in the wrong direction. So let's say that we open the door, you go inside the control room, and to refresh our viewers on what happened and what we discovered last week, inside the control room had already been cleaned up from the shattered Haruf statue. I'm watching Jason the Scribe online. He's getting me. Everything had already been cleaned up. Your characters entered. The screens, though, such as they were, these flat, polished gemstones, had gone once more opaque. Haruf, the statue, had not been replaced. Where do you want to go once you're inside the control room?
I'm heading in the direction to go find a previous companion.
One of the things that you had discovered when you had, from Benoit's knowledge, and no need for a knowledge check, this goes based off of your experience that you chose for your background. You know to go over and use the control panel, and accessing it, because you had been told exactly how to access it by your interactions at the back of the dining hall with the Haruf statue there. Once you had given it the gemstones that you had received when Lythander pawned off a bag of diamonds on one of these undead dwarves to get some old, what at one time might have been regal clothing, but was older now. You fed those gemstones to Haruf, and in so doing, Haruf gave you the information on how specifically to access the control panel. When you did, not really knowing what the controls are since they're not marked with words, but following the instructions, you use the control panel seeking this individual. Now, the other players who are watching, the characters gathered around you, since you're not trying to hide anything, see on one of these gemstones, which is easily the size of two hands together, illuminate nearby. And when it does so, the whole screen seems to fizzle back and forth and take on an image. And what you see is a cylindrical tube, for lack of a better say. And inside it appears to be a mist rolling around what looks like a woman underneath it. Now, all of you, what are your passive perception checks? Not counting Benoit because he knows what he's looking at. Ionia, Claymore, Lythander. What's your passive perception?
10.
You know, an 8. It's fine.
10.
Better than the acquirer of goods.
Perception.
For now.
Listen, he'll
Okay.
know about his goods, okay? He doesn't need to perceive them.
13.
13. Okay, so at 13, there is something that Claymore notices that's kind of oblivious to the other ones, and that is that the colors that this individual are wearing strike you as looking like the image that Benoit had been staring at on the wall earlier. You hadn't really taken it in until now because that perception roll back then you didn't, come through really high on. But now you're like, I saw an image that when you were looking at all these different images of all of you, looked like Benoit standing over a woman wearing these same colors. Benoit, you pick up on immediately some writing along the side of this. And you can read the writing, obviously, and you know the location of where that individual is.
So at that point, I explained to the others that I'm heading down to another room. They're more than welcome to come follow me if they want.
Do you know how to get the gems out of the walls? I'm asking for a friend.
No, they don't come out.
Darn it. Can you mine around them? Like, if I had a pickaxe, do you know, like, how sturdy the wall is?
You probably damage it.
Damage it enough to dislodge the gem?
Probably not.
Darn it. All right, lead the way. I didn't want those pesky gems anyway.
If they're all deciding to go, I'll just keep her tossed over my shoulder and head in that direction. If any of them are staying behind, I'll leave her with them.
It took you a few minutes actually in there of using the controls and whatnot. So I'm going to give Ionia an easy roll for a Constitution check to have the effects worn off enough to be up and about, and then she could ask if she can pass it, whether or not she's going to ask to get down.
Save or check.
Let's make it a save.
11.
11 is more than enough. It was an easy, which in D&D 5e is a 5 or below. So yeah, as you see him heading out of the room, you're over his shoulder and you're like, what's going on? How do you want to respond?
Continue to lay there limp and regret my life decisions. I'm going to keep getting carried for a little bit. I don't need to announce that I'm awake.
It is quite
my group is around me.
Because as far as a Goliath is concerned, you're kind of scrawny by comparison to a Goliath. That's where your elvish heritage came in. However, you are strong enough to keep for the time being carrying her, though you're pretty maxed out.
I can feel her kind of coming to as she kind of wiggles about. But I know she's still under the effects. So I continue to carry her with me, but I let her know, don't throw up down my back.
You got it, buddy. Casual pat on the back.
If it wasn't for his powerful build as a Goliath, I'm not sure that he could actually continue to carry you this way. However, he does. And he leads you over to a different wall where the same card that he used to get in here, the same card that he actually inserted into the control panel, which all of you, well, actually, Lythander, your passive perception's an 8, so you probably didn't notice it. Claymore definitely did. And Ionia, since you were kind of out of it till now, you wouldn't have noticed it. So Claymore, one of the things that you noticed that Benoit seemed unfazed by is the fact that when he pulled out his card, the card looked slightly different. Now he goes over to a different wall, not the same one that you entered through. Once again, slides it along the wall till he finds this slot, puts it in, and that same blue outline happens. An electric blue, if you will, like lightning rails. And suddenly you have a flash. You know what the lightning rails are. You remember these from across Ebberon, these magical trains that whisk across, levitating on blue electricity. And the door outline opens, and suddenly there's a stair, and Benoit starts leading you through it. As you all start heading down the stairway, you travel for another 10-15 minutes through twists and turns, and every now and then, Benoit is able to stop at various corners, where he places this card up against the wall, and you're not quite sure, because Ionia's head's behind him being carried, but Lythander and Claymore can make a investigation, actually, because you can see what he's doing. It's an investigation.
I thought Lythander had no idea what was going on.
What's that?
I thought Lythander had no idea what was going on, his perception.
It's not something that you would pick up, but you can literally see him doing this. It's not something sketchy. So you're trying to put together the difference between investigation. Perception is noticing something. Investigation is when you've noticed something, understanding what it means. So this is an investigation.
I was just asking because I thought I didn't notice it to be trying to figure out what it means.
Yeah. So him putting the card up against the wall is very obvious and easily noticeable. Why he's doing it seems very unclear. Perhaps he's just needing to lean against the walls or something. But he does this taking you lower and lower. And actually at one point, there's a group of these dwarves slowly walking along. And as they walk along, you notice that a few of them actually seem to have gear belts on them with tools. They look like mining or pick tools, small hammers and whatnot. And Benoit seems unconcerned by them as they walk by single file the other way, glassed things, and they seem to be talking to one another.
Are they mining the gems?
Who are you asking?
I'm asking Benoit.
What was the question again?
No, they're walking by with pickaxes and stuff. Are they mining the gems?
No, not the ones you were trying to get.
But they are mining gems. They know where gems are.
Well, you can follow them if you like.
No. Keep bleeding.
It's the first. Always split the party rule. You can do it.
You guys would be hopeless without me. Let's be real.
Bleh. I'm already hopeless. I'm not throwing up. I'm just making faces.
Is it hopeless or helpless being carried around?
I'm okay with either, honestly.
Damsel in distress. As
fine
Ionia,
with
this
being carried.
soldier, walks around. Notice now she's never even asked for her spear back. Which one of you is carrying that? Is that Lythander or is that Claymore that picked up her spear?
Thought it was Claymore, but
I thought it was Claymore too, but Lythander.
Yeah. Sure, I have it.
So she's walking along, but you're the one carrying her weapon and whatnot. What is the most memorable part of the journey as you take them into the depths of this location, Benoit?
Well, most of these passages I've been down through before, but the place where I'm heading, I have not been. Without having spoken to Haruf and gained that knowledge, I wouldn't know how to get there.
So literally, there comes a point when he reaches the lower levels where his confidence seems to wane a little bit. When he's holding the card against the wall, comes a point at an intersection. He holds it against one wall, but rather than taking a usual right or a left, he walks over to the other corner. It's an intersection, literally 3 ways to go. Walks over to the other one and the other one before he finally seems to gain what he's looking for. Walks down what appears to be a dead-end passage about 30 feet down it. There's nothing at the end. And you see Benoit start to manipulate the wall, running this card in the palm of his hand over it, and running his fingers along the cracks, and nothing seems to happen. At this point, I need Benoit to make an investigation check, please, to understand why.
Okay, I'm going to try this. Did that work?
I don't know, because I didn't flip over to that roll. A 17 absolutely works.
Not bad.
You've experienced junk like this before. Your memory is clear enough. Because right now, you know your number, and you know from previous numbers before you, you have learned that, yeah, you asked where. Haruf promised where. And Haruf, just like the Overseer, has given you the exact knowledge that he promised you, the where. At no point did he promise to open the door. And it's Ionia, who's awake but facing the opposite direction over your shoulder, who sees a female dwarf at the end of the corridor. As I said, it's about a 30-foot long corridor, just standing there. Red beard, somewhat scraggly, staring at you, saying nothing.
This is awkward.
kind of waves at her.
The dwarf raises its hand and imitates you back.
It's coming to steal your soul.
I feel like you and
then it
I,
stops.
with my green hair and your red hair, I think we've got like a holiday thing going here.
Are you talking to someone, Ionia?
Yeah.
You guys all are aware of this.
Back here. Hey, big guy, there's someone
Now I
behind us.
noticed that she's bouncing around, moving around quite a bit, so I gingerly roll her off my shoulder and stand her up to her feet.
Dusting herself off a little bit.
I hand over her spear.
Okay, it's a pike. Thank you.
Yeah, whatever.
Take your first plot point of the night, Claymore. Benoit, as you do this, turning around, you recognize a familiar sight, and you see, even though she was moving her hands and whatnot back and forth, and her hands are actually still up, you don't know why, but inside the one of the hands is a very familiar looking object to you.
I walk over and, knowing what the object is, go ahead and attempt to take it from the dwarf.
Picking it up, you know to put it against the wall to get the message out of it. And you guys all see Benoit holds it to the wall, and the dwarf just automatically turns around and starts grumbling something in Dwarvish, which Benoit can understand, if I remember. I know you know Goliath, Elven, and you have another one on there as well. You might actually have two, actually. I think Halfling is one of them. I don't remember. I'll have to look at the sheet. Do you know Dwarvish, Benoit? I don't remember.
I believe so.
You do,
Lower
okay.
left corner of your character sheet.
So this is definitely something, the grumbling especially about, why do I have to do this? This sucks. If this would
Where
just
you
end
going?
and whatnot. You know, you've heard this type of grumbling before. And as you put it to the wall, the voice comes out in a familiar fashion. However, none of you can hear anything except for Benoit, who gets the very familiar voice in his head. And it's Haruf. The psychic stone unlocks the message to you, creating an automatic message, which tells you, having completed this mission in my part of the bargain, are you ready for phase 2 of the operation, in which you will gain access to the room?
I am.
The individual holding the blue phase of the portal gun is located, and he mentions this sector location, and you, of course, who have been here long enough, know exactly what he's talking about, and it's all the way on the other part of this facility. And the voice goes on to tell you, however, that individual is loath to surrender the item, as they believe that it will guarantee the access for the Overseer. Do you accept this mission?
I don't really have much of a choice at this point. I was under the impression, obviously misguided, that you were going to allow me access to this room. Apparently, I'll have to pay more attention to your words next time.
Haruf at this time does not have access. Haruf only had the ability to locate the individual that you were looking for and start the machinery that would generate number 7 for this individual.
Well, I guess I'm off to the other side of the facility then.
Haruf thinks this is
I
a
turn
very
around.
good idea. And Haruf knows that once you gain this access from the Overseer, Haruf will be in a position to locate and open the contents within this room.
I turn around, tell the other people that this is where we need to go. It's locked.
That's the
The
way
way
out.
in is going to be on the other side. So I start heading out the other way. Join me or whatever.
I want answers, buddy. Lysander
See?
follows.
This is what I've been trying to do.
Is that the way out? Is the primary question on my mind right now, Bucko, whom I've never met until today.
No.
Then why are we going that way when we could be going out?
We have to go
That
through.
which we need is on the inside.
Like a key to get out?
I need an exit.
But what if it's the key to the exit?
He didn't say something to get to what we need. He just said something that we need. I need the exit.
I want it.
Do we need this to get to the exit?
No. I'm going this way.
So, good suggestion in chat, Callie. I want to try and pick a lock. Maybe you can pick a lock on a door.
Lysander will go investigate the door.
Make a perception roll.
Oh, here we go.
Now, luckily, you've seen him do a whole lot of things, so I'm not going to set the DC extraordinarily high.
Perception. You say that. I say, has a minus.
I'm guessing it was higher than that.
Oh no!
Yeah, unfortunately,
I think you got a good chance.
even in 5e, an easy is a 5, so like below easy is really kind of a botch because you couldn't handle an easy one. So basically, even if the hole was sitting right in front of you, you'd be like, I don't really see it. I don't know where it is. Oh no, that's just a chip in the wall. So yeah, unfortunately, you can't find a lock to pick here. So
I want to kick the door down.
well, you start kicking at this what appears to be just a dead end wall and bashing at it with your toe. Go ahead and make a strength attack for me. Just a regular strength based attack.
Fear the mighty Lysander. He kicks
Wow.
the door good.
You kick this thing strong enough with the ball of your foot that you walk with a limp for the next 5 minutes. The stone wall appears unaffected as you're like, ow! dang, kicking a stone wall just probably isn't the best idea in the world. There's really not the same give as a
God,
wood
I bet a
door.
wiser person wouldn't have done that.
Oh gosh! Ow!
Darn.
However, I want to
Ow!
congratulate you on a very effective kick. That kick is worthy of a plot point.
Aw, thank you.
Ow!
Are you all going to end up
I'm
following him?
actually
Or Claymore?
trying to catch back up to that dwarf to see if the dwarf has anything else on her that might help gain access to this room without having to go all the way across
Okay.
to the other side of the facility.
Ionia, Claymore, how about you?
I'm
Follow
following the
the
big guy.
Guy that seems to know everything that's going on, because either he's the enemy and eventually we'll kill him, or else he's finding the exit.
Benoit sprints off incredibly quickly, and then you hear Claymore's metal footsteps as he bangs along after him. And Lythander's nowhere near as loud, but Lythander's grumbling as he limps in. Lythander's at the back of this
what
porch,
a man he is.
limping after. The dwarf wasn't moving that quick, so it only takes about another, I don't know, maybe 150 feet, half a football field there, before you catch up to the dwarf, who's still incredibly grumbling about being sent on useless missions and how this is a waste of time, and I never thought eternity would take this long. None of you can understand her. Benoit can, because Benoit speaks the dwarvish.
I speak back to her and ask her if she has anything that can gain access to that room.
The dwarf looks up at you. It doesn't stop.
Looks
by any means. Keeps
way
walking, looks over at you, and says, I haven't been told to give you access to anything. Move along. My duties. I have my duties to complete.
But do you have access to it?
I have access to whatever the overseer tells me I should have access to. These are the rules of the shelter. Gain access. Do your job. Leave. Overseer revokes access. Do your job. Beat the rules.
So I pick up the
on.
dwarf and begin shaking it down, searching for any key cards or
Jeez.
Why are you trying to rob her? She
gemstones or
just
anything
helped
that
us.
may-
I'm not with him.
that may help
Walking
me
in the
get
same direction.
into the door.
This
And
is my winter solstice buddy.
And as you are all watching, you notice something unusual. The individual in question, almost like they've been molested this way before for items on them, doesn't even seem to hesitate. Other than the fact that Benoit is able to prevent them walking away by holding on to them, the person's just grumbling nonchalantly about this as he searches them through their pockets and whatnot, pulls some items out, shoves them back, finds another two of these little sticks that he put against the wall previously, but doesn't find specifically what he's looking for. Benoit, you knew that you needed probably an access card or something else, some sort of flat gemstone that you've seen open walls before. One of the individuals early on that you had traveled with had found one of these things and opened a wall. And while the wall often took them in, that was what you were hoping to find. You notice again, with no access card on this individual, you know that they have to have some form of identification. You do notice that the palm of the hand has the very typical, what you're familiar with, dye put into the hand, which would gain them access to the lower access point. Telling you that this is one of the low-level drones that your party has worked with previously. Which is probably also the reason why Haruf was able to guarantee and send it over here. And Jason has good wisdom for you as well.
Another dwarf back to the wall.
I saw that.
And swipe its hand across the door to see if that activates it.
Interesting, because one of the things that I'm noticing is his video actually froze up on our stream there, and I apologize about that, everybody. With OBS, we actually run multiple things, and everything was running great because I could see him on Zoom coming through just fine. Don't know why he froze up there. Because you're looking good. Wait for me, bro. Yeah, it seems to be good on your end. Yeah, it's working. So, Jason wants to know whether or not you might want to try and use the dwarf as the access card. Now, one of the things that...
Yeah, that's why I said I carry the dwarf back and try to run the hand across the door.
As you guys see this, that's when the dwarf actually does start to, grumble more loudly, kind of kick a little bit. So it's a straight resistance roll, but Benoit's used to this. You can see. He carries over the dwarf and puts his hand on hers and smashes it against the wall. And you guys notice something. The same outlines as before happen at this wall. And it shoots up from the ground, this blue, and then it flashes red. The doorknob that normally appears, that little circular entity, never appears. He does it 2 or 3 times more. Each time the blue outline comes up and then flashes red and disappears.
Ooh.
I don't think it's happy with you.
I want you all to make a perception check, please.
Lysander is the best at those. He's ready. Nothing gets past.
I'm ready. I'm ready.
Ah, there we go. That was actually an okay roll.
I made an easy check.
Ionia is more concerned with this wall and why it's going red, but the rest of you kind of hear what appear to be metal-shod footsteps in the distance getting closer.
No.
Benoit, you know what these are.
Breakfast?
What?
It's never gonna go away.
No. Forever tormented.
And as
Jeez.
you're listening, they gain close enough, and you can turn around and see this group of 6 dwarf-like individuals that have weapons on them as well. Claymore, you've never had to fight these types of dwarves in the war, but you notice exactly that these individuals, while moving somewhat slowly, are definitely prepared for battle. And
Well,
why you know that this is the typical security force.
I say it's time to go, guys, and we start heading out the other way.
Why are we going? What's going on?
I'm
Did we
with
do
you.
something wrong? I mean, I didn't do anything wrong. I would never do anything wrong. Where are we going?
I don't know. The last time I fought something smaller than me, there was a lot of them. I didn't particularly live.
What? You?
Last time I fought something, it was much bigger than me.
I don't
I-
fight things.
And it fought with words instead of with a sword.
Benoit, you're just taking off?
I let them know it's time to go.
Yeah, you did. That's what I'm saying. Are
yeah,
you like waiting
following.
to chat with them? Or?
Yeah, I'm heading out.
Yeah, no, Lysander will keep a brisk pace just in case they're coming for him. Not that he's nervous about things like that, because everything he does is following a T to the law.
Claymore would like to keep some sort of sight on them while he walks away. Not feeling, very comfortable with the situation, obviously.
Benoit leads you down another set of stairs deeper into this, what you now believe might even be a small city for dwarves. Yet where are all the people again? Why are they not bustling about? That seems to be the odd thing. Plus, this place seems ancient and the air somewhat stale in many regards. Benoit, you knew quick enough to leave them alone because you had seen the last time a group of security
Excellent
like
face.
this had taken down your friend Bo and whatnot. Bo, who was such a handsome bard, the most handsome bard you've ever seen, but even he could not stand up against these individuals. You lead them away. Claymore, looking back over your shoulder, you notice that they seem to take up positions, 2 of them at the entranceway to this, while others march in. And you know from your soldier background that traditionally what they're doing in Ionia, it makes sense to you as well. They're now checking for whatever was trying to breach this point. So it becomes very clear that whether it was Lythander's kick or whether it was Benoit bringing back the person with the hand, something summoned a security force. Yet the
Lythander-
security-
Maybe they don't like it when you throw their little people at the wall. The little person didn't seem too terribly perturbed, but maybe the overarching system at large
It's an Olympic
actually
event.
cares
It's
about
called
their
dwarf
soldiers.
tossing.
I want to be part of this event.
No, that wouldn't be too
Not
bad.
be very good at it, but I think trying is half the battle. Honestly,
I'm pretty sure he's confusing that with gnome tossing. They're smaller and a little bit.
no,
easier to get
that's
the flip
gnome
on.
punting. You got it backwards. It's
Not for
gnome punting.
Goliath, it's dwarf tossing.
Dwarf tossing, gnome punting.
Well, whichever one it is, you'll have plenty more time to do that because where Benoit leads you is actually down And it's a little more confusing for him. You can see this. This is unfamiliar ground since the security actually came from the main way that he's been before. Finding your way along, he actually continues to check the walls occasionally, but his card appears to no longer give him the information that he wants. It had been programmed with a destination in mind, and it had taken him there previously. Benoit knows this and is just kind of randomly doing some of the things that he's done before to try and find a location. However, he does know where he's going, and as he reads the script along the walls, which is this blend of giant and dwarvish, he leads you through dwarven catacombs. Yet, so many of these appear to be hewn rooms and whatnot. Lythander, actually, I'm going to guess that you kind of want to check some things out along the way, never losing sight of people.
Oh, naturally.
I kind of thought that was what the character you had told me you developed. So you peek into a couple of these rooms when they're not locked, and you see small bedrooms, chests of drawers, and beds, all built for dwarves. But there's an immediate sense they're too clean, almost like unused.
Yeah, these people all seem kind of like scrubs. Like they're not coming from any sort of a high-class standing. Not that like that's important to me or anything, but they're just not seeming like the people that's like bedrooms I'd want to hang out in.
Lythander, you do figure that out, and one of the actual checks, once you say about the scrubs and whatnot, is checking the drawers just to make sure that it's all kind of, normal things. And you pull out a set of clothes very quickly that appear to have never been worn. Definitely made for a dwarf, and you're like, that's odd. These are like perfectly pressed and wrapped and put in a drawer, and the bed and everything here appears almost unused. Benoit, you lead them on, and this takes about a good 40 minutes. You guys pass back through that main dining hall facility, and then you get to this other location that Benoit was being led to. And what you hear comes to your ears in advance, and it's the sounds of battle. Claymore, you recognize the sounds of metal ringing. You come out, and you hear the voices, again, speaking in this language that only Benoit seems to understand, this dwarvish giant commingling together. You come out at the top layer of what appears to be 15 rows down towards what could only be described as a fight pit. A pit big enough, easily like a gladiatorial ring, for 20 people to be in. However, right now, only 2 are down there. Many of the individuals that are sitting inside of the various seating, these long rows of stone benches, don't appear to be clamoring.
You suck!
Which one?
And the loudest voice is Ionia, because many of them appear to be murmuring, talking in just gentle voices to one another. Yet Ionia yells out loudly,
"Give him a lift! Don't you know you're left from your right?"
And as Ionia yells, the one person down, the dwarf down in the pit, who was swinging these 2 gigantic mailed fists, stops as if considering what it is, and ends up getting crashed along the side of the head, falling to the ground backwards by the warhammer in the other one's hands.
Oh man, that sucked!
Yeah, I shouldn't have been distracted.
Gotta pay attention to what you're doing!
Benoit, you know the color codes that that Haruf just gave you, and sure enough, the warhammer that just hit has that blue glow to it. You recognize one of the overseer's items.
So I deduce that is the overseer?
Oh no. You know that the overseer, just like Haruf, commands from a distance, and that the Haruf statues are only the access points. You know that this is something of the overseer's magical, if you will, technology, which is something that Haruf has had your previous party try to gain access to before, numerous items. So when he referred to the blue portal, you understood that it would be something glowing blue, because it seems that Haruf often wants to get his hands on the technology.
So then I have to go get this warhammer.
That would make sense to Benoit, based off of previous missions.
All right, so it looks like I'm going in the pit, guys.
You're going in the pit?
Going in the pit. I'm getting that warhammer.
Don't forget your deodorant.
I know you.
You know, I think I'm starting to like this guy.
So So I'm going to reach over and grab the railing and kind of hop over it and drop about 10 feet down into this.
Try not to suck.
And I'm going over and stepping over the dwarf that's laying on the ground now and going after this warhammer.
I want my money back.
You spent money on this?
The guy I haven't spent a bunch of
No,
time
maybe
with.
I'll get some money. They should pay me for having to endure this, honestly.
You know, one of the most two interesting things happens as Ione is yelling out right near Lythander. One of the dwarves, the mumbling seems to be this almost rhythmic chant, almost like a song. And over near Claymore, you happen to notice that as Benoit jumps into the ring, one of the other ones appears to be talking and uses a word that you pick up quickly.
Tiger.
No, it's gnome. Because you've worked with gnomes before, and it's their original title for gnomes. It's an old title. And as the individual's talking about the gnomes, they appear to be using their arm almost like gnomes could fly through the air. Then while you jump into the ring, and the other individual who's been smashed on the ground is still laying there, blood coming out of the side of his head. And you see a very familiar sight. The blood does not look normal by any means. It is this mingling of dark, thick, almost like stale blood coming out, and that greenish slime that Ionia ate inside the hull. It's not the first time you've seen it, having seen some of these ones go down before. At the other end, the dwarf that's holding this
Anything
warhammer
is edible if you try hard enough.
looks at you, and there's a familiar flash in here. And then all the dwarves that are sitting on the stone benches start to chant in unison in Dwarvish. Ada, Ada, Ada. And Benoit, you hear challenger, challenger, challenger. And the other dwarf looks at you, swings the blue thing, and holds it as if ready for you to come in to attack.
I'm going to cautiously approach, waiting for that swing at any moment. I'm actually going to wait for him to throw a swing first, in which I'm going to counter and try to get in underneath of the warhammer and get a hold of this guy.
Okay. You actually ready your action to respond. I want you to roll in with your initiative, please.
Okay, where is that at?
On your character sheet, you just click the word initiative, and it'll pop right up for everybody to see. Don't need the dice roller. I need to find out where my initiative tracker is. I don't remember the button.
There we go. It's up top.
That's dice roller. I don't want dice roller. I want the initiative tracker.
Talk it to him, Benoit.
All right, maybe I should put on my glasses because I can't see any of this. There we go. Boom. There we go. Turn order. Why do I not see your initiative? Oh, I know why. You got to click on your token first. Click on your token, then click
okay.
initiative. Then it'll pop in.
Did that work?
It did not. I don't know why. That's kind of weird. You should be able to just click on your token and that highlights it, and then open your character sheet. But we won't worry about it for now. I see that you have an
Okay. Well, my
initiative
first
there of
roll was
18,
an
so I'll
18,
just-
and my second was a 17.
That's fine. We'll just let it go. We know that you're above the dwarven opponent. So you move in, ready your action. You are absolutely set. And sure enough, this individual comes out with a long, slow swing towards your legs. Seems like an easy broadcasted thing that you could probably block. He swings slowly and easily. And as
Towards my legs, I'm going to try to elevate myself, keeping an eye out for a secondary swing so that I'm not caught off guard.
And as you guys are watching this from up in the stands, Benoit prepares himself, and as he goes to swing, the blue light flashes in advance. There's no secondary attack, but the attack is rigged, and you realize it's this weapon that he's doing. And as it does, it flashes and knocks your legs out from under you, putting you on your back instantly. And you realize he doesn't actually have to make contact with the weapon. Whatever ability it has seems to send out an almost concussive force against you. So what you were prepared for did not happen. You start roofing, but the chant goes on about the challenger and whatnot. And now they get a little louder, almost as if what they are used to seeing is not happening. Something about this entertainment that they have with one another is made new and fresh by the fact that you are not the typical dwarven challenger.
I'm going to roll over and get up as quickly as possible.
Cheater! Somebody call a ref!
And I'm going to make another move in, this time being aware of what the weapon did the first time, and try to avoid that.
Perfect. Make your attack roll. What are you attacking with? Short sword, hand? What are you doing?
I'm trying to get in and get a hold of him.
You just
So I've got my hands free.
Opposed grapple check. Okay. So you're going to go in. You're going to make a athletics roll, and it'll be compared to my athletics roll, and we'll see who gets higher. So you can just click on your athletics, which I know you have proficiency in. 13, even with your proficiency bonus. Okay. And this big guy uses the staff to knock you away and whatnot. Almost like he's wary of your huge size compared to him. Because again, he's only about 5 feet. You've got almost 3 feet on him.
Intimidation factor.
As you reach down to try and grab him, he's pushing you away, and you're doing this dance against one another, almost seeming like who can lock. He makes his strike at you again, but you are far too dexterous for him. Now that you know what you're looking for, that he is making these slow swings, purposely you dance out of the way. Go ahead and make an attack again. Unless you want to try something special or do something different.
Okay.
And do you guys want to interfere or do anything from the stands? Claymore, Lythander?
Wait.
Is there anything small and throwable like popcorn that can be thrown in? Or a dwarf? Can I throw a dwarf in? I want to throw a dwarf.
Knowing that the lowest row is actually pretty close to the ring, you feel you probably could.
I think it's time to throw a dwarf in. I'm going to pick whatever looks like a dwarf I could manage to potentially throw with a 14 strength. 14. It's above average.
It is. That means you can, what is that, 15 times 14, so 210 pounds, is that right? Am I doing that right?
I think so.
Well,
I mean, that is what 15 times 14 is, but...
Okay. So, yeah, 140 plus another 70, so 210. These dwarves are pretty freaking stocky. Although
should I
you
try to
managed
throw the thief in instead? He seems lighter.
Go for it. He's distracted. And I'll have you know that today it is the finder of lost items.
Okay, that's true. It's a finder of lost items. But see, unfortunately, finder throwing is not as catchy as dwarf throwing. And I got to be ready for the Olympics one day because I'm going to participate.
Mm-hmm.
Give me another athletics roll, Brock, and make an athletics roll, Ionia. And Claymore, you can tell me what you want to do to assist with this.
Yeah,
I'm going
Claymore.
to spend 3 plot points to make it a dirty 20.
Okay.
Claymore standing by to see if one more thing will go bad for Benoit over there, and he might just jump right in with him.
Oh, no!
Oh! Well, exactly what Claymore expected does happen, but not in the way that he expected, because who could have pictured that Ionia, with her big green hair, would grab Lythander, who seemed to be...
No, the dwarf.
Yeah,
God.
she grabbed the dwarf initially, and we said that the dwarf was heavy, and then Lythander said it was okay for you to throw him.
Okay,
And
was that it? Okay.
Yeah, so I kind of pictured that's where it was going. So Ionia couldn't get this dwarf to his feet, just really too heavy. And Lythander was over there kind of like helping by pilfering pockets rather than helping the dwarf lift. So Ionia took advantage and just threw Lythander, which was great, except for the fact that Lythander goes sailing through the air and hits Benoit just as Benoit's trying to grapple on this dwarf, forcing Benoit to fall forward with his natural one into this dwarf who's swinging this thing at the same time. And let me make a roll for the attack, see what happens. And ends up swinging, hitting Lythander right in the back as Lythander lands on top of Benoit and pushing them both 15 feet away as this sonic force knocks them into a distance. Benoit, make a perception roll. Lythander, make a perception roll. Claymore, make a perception roll with advantage because you were watching and waiting for something to go wrong.
Lythander does so good with perception. I'm so proud of him as a player over my character. It's times like today.
And Benoit, Claymore, you notice that the blue light on the end of the thing has stopped flashing.
Oh, wait, did I hit the wrong one?
Yeah, you hit performance roll, so yeah, go ahead and remake it. That's fine.
Right,
it only gave you an advantage of a 1, so it was a 17 anyway. You're fine. So, with a 17 roll, you saw exactly, you didn't know how long it would last, but you've seen these items that need charging before, and you realize the power of it has just gone out. Whether he used up most of it on the previous dwarf or not, you know that it'll be rounds, precious seconds before that thing recharges to be able to do its sonic blast again. Pardon me. Oh my!
Bless you.
Thank you so much. What do you want to do? Do you want to seize the advantage while he's got it down?
This on me?
Ionia has geared up for her gnome punting Olympics, so you know.
I mean, Claymore, to be honest, would like to act.
Roll into the initiative order. Let's see where you're at.
Let's roll for, let's see. Pull this up. Come on. Initiative. Oh, what the heck? Oh, there it is. Oh, well.
Did you click your token first? That's all right. I'll put you in by hand.
Oh, geez. Thank you.
No problem. And boom. What was yours? A 15. And you really should turn on your randomness because I always tend to give it to... Whoa, well, that's definitely not right. Just trying to help out our viewers so that they can follow along with you. We'll organize that by descending. And boom. All right. So yeah, you can jump right in actually. Benoit's gonna make his. How did you want to do this, Benoit?
I'm just going back at him. I'm still trying to get a hold of him. Hopefully I don't have no more people falling on top of me.
Make your athletics check.
Should Lythander add himself into the initiative?
I'm not seeing your athletics yet. Wow!
There it is.
You go in and you wrap this guy. And now, one of the reasons he kept breaking away is this dwarf is freaking strong. He is stocky. And you're used to handling stocky people previously. So you start wrapping him up, and what you do instead is you use the weapon against him now while it's decharged, and you get him into a pin mode where he is actually grappled. He is not restrained fully yet, but you have him grappled where he's not going anywhere. Claymore, you see him move in and do this. What do you want to do on your turn?
How does it look, the grapple right now?
Like, Benoit might be able to turn it into a restrained condition in rounds to come, but otherwise, you can see that Benoit, despite his large size, is very skinny, very thin. So not a lot of muscular bulk to him. He's more what you would consider tone in today's standards, six-pack abs and all that.
I'm wiry.
Yeah, he's wiry. Whereas the dwarf is just straight, like the guy that goes to the gym way too much. Yeah, that's the dwarf. and you're probably figuring that if the dwarf can get a hold of Rubber Band Man here, he might snap him.
Oh God. Okay. I go over to assist, obviously, but are this dwarf's legs free?
I don't have a hold of him. I'm trying to swing around behind and get him in like some type of rear naked choke.
Beautiful.
Dog pile!
You know what? All right, so Benoit's in front of this dwarf, grappling him, right?
Okay.
I'd like to get my battle axe, but use it as a choke behind this dude. So like I'm holding him back.
So using your weapon as an advantage, you kind of slip it in there. Go ahead and make a let's just go with a straight attack roll to see if you can get it into position around his neck or whether he's gonna beat you off.
All right. Straight attack.
Yeah, it'll probably turn into a kind of a grapple thing when he tries to break loose from you.
All right. I think I did that. Strength. It was based off of strength, right? Or
Yeah,
not?
it's an attack roll. Yeah.
So roll that? What the heck? Why is it not doing it?
I don't know. Just make your weapon and do an attack that way if you need to. That's fine.
Strength. There we go. Okay. Wow.
Beautiful. So you slip it in there. You get into position a heck of a lot better than that one if you had advantage or disadvantage. And you start locking it around his neck. Benoit, what do you want to do? He's kind of taking your position where you wanted to get behind him. He's kind of moved in where you were hoping to get to.
Well, then I'm going to slide down and try to take out the legs so that he's got nothing to brace himself with.
There you go.
Sweet. The dwarf, on the other hand, who's trying to shrug you both off, I want Claymore to make an opposed athletics check against the dwarf as he's going to try to break away from you.
Oof. Nope.
Yeah,
Not
you
happening.
hang on to this thing. Now it's a check, so that 25, you lock this guy around the head. Benoit actually lets go, and the dwarf is pulling against you when Benoit grabs his legs and knocks him out from under him. What does it look like? What kind of position are you going for, Benoit?
I was just trying to tie up the legs. I mean, if the legs are tied up, he can't use them to, as part of his whole body strength to break free of whatever else hold is on him.
You've got it. You've got the legs and whatnot. Claymore seems to have the top half. Lythander and Ionia, how are you helping out as this?
I'm still not in the ring. I'm just shouting insults left and right because you turned me into a troll instead of a soldier for a little bit. So, I'm just kind of shouting.
That's true. You weren't able to find any gnomes as you were suggesting punting, so nothing from a distance unless you're going to steal something off of one of the other individuals.
No, I talked about throwing popcorn if there was any popcorn to throw, but I never heard back as to whether or not there was food to be thrown.
No popcorn, no little dishes of gruel, though you could probably steal an item that is on one of the other individuals if you want to try and rob them.
I got some rations. I'll throw some rations,
Oh, I love it. So suddenly you guys are being rained down on by beef jerky and other
Saltine
stuff.
crackers.
And why? You haven't seen any type of rations for quite a long time. Healthy rations. That might look actually really tasty. You have him wrapped up. The dwarf is unable to do anything. How about you, Lythander?
Lythander's gonna sneakily get out of the ring he was just tossed in. He's not one for direct fighting.
What about the dead body on the ground that has its head smashed in?
Oh, that's a thing. Just go around it and crawl over the pit and back to the stage.
Okay. Don't worry, you leave that body behind, you climb up and out, and you get near Ionia again, who appears to be, throwing food into the ring and whatnot.
Can I
Obviously,
eat one of those?
Which speaks volumes for the quality of the gruel bowls here. If she's willing to throw away rations, you might want to eat some of that gruel. Warforged gruel is pretty good, I guess.
So we're down on the ground, and I begin moving up the legs.
It was pretty good.
And since his upper body is somewhat restrained, I begin to pummel him about the face, trying to knock him out.
Okay. Go ahead and use your monk attacks.
Okay, now walk me through that one.
I believe it's probably on your character sheet as a hand attack because monks can do 1d4 damage. Otherwise, if you don't see it there listed under your weapons for a hand attack, you can just click on your strength and make a straight strength-based attack.
Did that go through?
Yeah.
Monk, it's a 1, so no. Well, it's a 7 after all your bonuses.
Oh, my rolls tonight are horrible.
Yeah.
It happens sometimes.
We'll come back.
So basically, you're pummeling on this guy, and one of the things that you start to do is you realize he's almost unaffected by it, which isn't too much of a surprise. You've seen these berserker ones before. You know, there were a couple individuals in your party that made it here previously, and these are the individuals again that Haruf and the Overseer seem to use to test things out, especially the Overseer. Haruf has sent your party to gather things from them before. They never go down easy.
I attempt to pull the hammer from his grasp and toss it out of the way.
Focusing instead on the weapon, which is the target of what you're looking for, rather than trying to bring down this guy that seems almost unstoppable. I'll let you make an opposed athletics check, as it seems to be somewhat distracted going after breaking loose from Eric. Eric, you make an opposed athletics check as well, because it's focusing on you, and Benoit, he's focused on trying to hold on to yours. Okay.
Now, what's the difference with an opposed athletics check?
That means you're rolling athletics, and I'm rolling athletics, and it's whoever gets higher.
Okay.
So in this case, Claymore is, holding him back, and this guy is focused on trying to break away from him. And I rolled against that, and the guy absolutely is like, focuses on pulling away Claymore's hammer, but as he does so, his focus was not on the other war hammer in his hand. And in that moment, because his focus was more on breaking away from Claymore, you're able to wrench this out of his hand, and using your free action, you throw it. Are you trying to throw it out of the ring, or are you just dropping it to the ground?
Yeah, I throw it up to Ionia because she's sitting there not really doing anything.
So go ahead and make a attack roll. It doesn't matter what weapon you use. You can just use your short sword, even though you're throwing this. And we're just gonna make it as a dexterity check, or not a check, just a dexterity roll. Don't even worry about using whatever weapon, just dexterity. Wow,
Nice.
dude, Ionia. Yeah, I hope you're paying attention because
I am.
it's flying right at your head. This massive warhammer.
I'm gonna catch it. I'm gonna catch it unless like I can somehow, because I've been in fights enough. If I can tell that it's like impossible for me to catch this thing because it's a warhammer, then I'm just gonna hit the ground and let it like take somebody else out. But like if it's possible for me to catch it, I'm gonna catch it.
Safer to not try, but if you want to be epic, make the try.
No, I don't need to be epic. I'm just gonna let it take somebody behind me out, and then I'm gonna go pick it up once like somebody else stops that momentum.
Yeah, obviously this guy like threw it straight at you. You hunker down, and this hammer goes sailing right over you, and there's a sickening wet thud as it sinks into a person behind you, actually hitting two dwarves right behind you. You sit up, and this huge hammer of this, or handle of the warhammer, is laying down beside you. Lythander, you actually see it as she ducked right into your lap and whatnot.
Hey,
Oh, hi there. Come here often?
yeah, you could come here more often.
Benoit, literally the entire ceiling flashes red in that same warning that was at the door. Benoit, you know what this means. It's going to be the same thing as last time as the Overseer summons individuals, because the Overseer, which is very big on the policies and control, you have just violated one of the rules of the ring by taking the experimental items from the ring.
I'm picking up the hammer.
Well, I know what's about to go down then, so I tap Claymore and I'm like, time to roll. Let's go.
Damn, I wanted to kill that dude. All right.
Hey, he might make a good
Should have done it
lunch.
sooner.
The dwarf, which has broken away from Claymore, swings his fist at Claymore's head, takes 2 swings, but Claymore, despite his size, actually ducks away from both of them, having been warned by Benoit. Do you want to stay and fight, Claymore?
It's taking a lot of his power to not fight back at this moment, but it seems as though, Benoit knows his stuff around here. I have no idea what's going on, so yeah, I'm gonna go with Benoit.
So I'm standing over by the wall, and I'm motioning for Claymore to head toward me, and I've got my hands interlocked so he can step in them, and I can give him a toss up over the wall, and then I'll follow behind him.
You do your very best to hold this, and you realize just how heavy this freaking metal, stone, and wood warforged is. I need you to make a strength-based roll to just try and hold this up. Otherwise, his foot is going to go right through your hands. I mean, this guy is heavy. What do you weigh, like 300, 400 pounds?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I know you're big. Go ahead and make it. Yeah, literally, he goes to put this massive foot. Now, you're used to interlacing your fingers, except his foot is that big and wide that as he does it, it's hitting the inside of your wrist and just breaks away. You're like, oh, dude, he's like a fat ass.
Right.
But it doesn't stop Claymore actually going to climb over the wall, except the dwarf runs after him, and as Claymore grabs onto the wall to start going over, this dwarf grapples against him from behind. In the stands, Lythander and Ionia notice that most of the dwarves have started to fish inside their various clothes and are pulling out that same white, long, thin stone that Benoit held against the wall. And they appear to be looking and holding it in their hands, and some of them start to glow various things.
Get one.
Lythander's gonna just try and casually, like as the first few go, before the next one can reach into their pocket, reach in before them and get it.
You notice somebody about 15 feet away that is appearing to search multiple things trying to find it. That's probably your best bet to either help them find their item or something like that. Go ahead and
make a what?
Well, we're doing a pickpocketing, so...
Yes.
Go ahead.
So Claymore got pulled back down off the wall.
I'm going to use a luck and roll a second time. Wait, where is it? Oh my goodness. I'll take that one.
Dude, unfortunately, you have to explain to this person
Lucky!
who is speaking the language that you can't help them find their item at all. It doesn't appear to be on them. However, you're pretty sure you know exactly where it is inside your side pouch and whatnot. The dwarf has grappled...
No hablo español, señor.
The Goliath dwarf, oversized, let's just call him Uber Dwarf, has attempted to grapple Claymore from behind. It's an opposed athletics roll. Benoit, are you taking the time to climb out of the ring?
No, I was going to go up after him. If he didn't make it, then obviously we're not going to be able to get up and out of here quickly. So I go ahead and pull out my dagger and try to find a soft place to put it so that we can just put it down and keep going.
There you go.
Okay. I want the opposed roll from Claymore as we check for a grapple, see whether Claymore was able to get away.
There it is.
Literally, this dwarf is trying to grab Claymore around the wrist, but he tried to use his fingers to press into the sides, which would normally work with a fleshy creature, but doesn't really work that well out of Warforged, as his fingers slid off and Claymore actually gets himself up over the wall. Girls, Ionia and Lythander actually notice that some of the dwarves, which appear to be finishing their messages, are standing up. It's pretty clear, Lythander, you've seen crowds get riled before when they have a purpose, and that seems to be what happens. Arya, Ionia now has the Warhammer, I'm assuming, which is wickedly big and heavy. Benoit, you just noticed Claymore climb out of the ring, but you said that you are going to stick him. Make an attack roll with your dagger.
Ha 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 ha.
Woo! Frosty looking Ionia. Benoit, it was an easy strike because he was so focused on Claymore that you slide it right into his ribs on his side and whatnot, and you get the same effect that you've noticed multiple times before. These somewhat undead dwarves don't seem to feel pain quite the same way. You pull it out, you know you've done damage because the blackish ooze comes out along on your blade. a little bit of the yellow pus-like stuff that's in the bowls comes out with it, mingled with it. You know you've done damage, and you know it will hurt it, but they don't seem to feel quite the same pain that normally they do.
As I withdraw my dagger, I squat down to make a roll underneath the arms. While I'm rolling through, I grab a handful of the dust that lines the pit, throw it into the face of the dwarf, quickly get away, distance myself from him, and jump up and grab the rail and try to get out of the pit.
Claymore's assisting.
Ooh, easy. You know what? No rolls necessary. With that assistance, you've already blinded the individual, slowing him down. It's totally effective. The individual stops because despite being undead, he still uses his eyeballs to fight. The red light is glowing, and other dwarves are standing up. Claymore pulls Benoit out of the ring as these other dwarves start to move in, almost getting ready to circle. Arya, you were already in the stands. What's Ionia doing with this massive, oversized warhammer in your hands?
Okay, so my buddies are climbing out of the ring. I've got Lythander here next to me. Is there anyone around me that's like looking like they're trying to close, like acquire the hammer or attack or something like that?
Yeah, the two that were knocked down with the meaty thud weren't dead, and they're standing up, as well as the other one that you were sitting next to that was originally talking about the gnomes and using that word.
Okay, but they were coming to attack me. They're not like pulling things out and leaving like the rest of them?
Oh, none of them are leaving. They appear to be circling. They all appear to now have been, quote-unquote, activated, let's say, having received their own instructions from these message stones.
Okay, I'm going to slam the hammer down on the ground to see if there's some sort of like thunderclap kind of effect, since this thing seemed to have some amount of like force that it was dealing damage with. So I'm thinking like if I slam it on the ground real hard, I'm going to like knock people over or something like that. You never know.
I love it. Using your warrior skills that you have trained with, you take this thing and you're like, wham, crashing down onto these stone benches that are cut in. And as you do, there is this firm slap as it hits. But no gigantic thunder wave and whatnot.
Oh.
Oof.
You let me down, hammer.
And
All right, Lythander, how do we get out?
There, as you land with the hammer, make their own attacks on you. Claymore, you're nearby. You see this happening as she slams this down on the ground, and the two there start going in. Lythander, you have a chance, a clear shot for the exit right now, or you can go and get into this melee.
This way. I grab Ionia's hand and quickly start beelining for the exit.
So you go into this and try and grab her and pull her out. Claymore, what are your intentions?
Claymore's pulling out his short sword, so he's dual wielding a short sword and his battle axe, putting it into an X form, and just gonna like charge right through. And at the same time,
the exit or towards them, towards where Ionia is.
Towards where Ionia is, to be honest. And I'm telling Benoit at the same time, like, follow me. And just
Benoit, what are your intentions?
My intentions are I'm jumping across using the heads of each one of these dwarfs to go right across to get to the others so that we can get to that battle axe, clear a path, and get us all out of this room.
Because you're doing something fancier than just basic movement, we're going to have you make a dexterity roll on that. You can use your acrobatics. So go ahead and click your acrobatics. Let's see what happens on whether you can do some head dances along the way.
All right, here we go.
Woo! Acrobatics. You place your foot right on the top of the first head, which sadly hasn't been washed in probably 100 years, and you kind of like slide off on the side, doing kind of a split and cracking your Eliath parts upon the dwarf's head. Sadly, it was a great idea, though it didn't work in practice, though you fall across some of the other dwarves, and then Claymore, who's been charging in, just barrel chucks a couple dwarves over on top of Lythander, who's reaching in. Suddenly, it is the proverbial exactly what Ionia described, which was a dog pile she was yelling for, and suddenly you guys have put yourself all in this as the other ones come forward, starting to come in, and it's a little bit like a mosh pit at the moment. It's going to require the group of you working together, using your dexterity to try and push your way out. Do you guys want to do this with dexterity or just straight strength against these dwarves? Knowing that you are, as you look at the dwarves, it's going to be a difficult strength check. it's going to be a group check, so that means 3 of the well, actually, yeah, because it's a majority. It's not 2. 3 of you will have to roll successes on whichever one you choose. Do you guys want to try and do this dexterity, doing like Benoit and climbing and worming your way out, or do you want to do this strength based?
I would rather do strength because my dexterity is a 5.
So 2 of you are looking at strength. How about you, Benoit and Lythander?
Lythander's gonna do dexterity.
Well, you can't mix and match.
Like dexterity as well.
So you got 2 and 2.
So what are our modifiers here? Because I have a -3 in dex. Does anyone have a -3 in strength? Is their strength really that bad?
No.
I can go either way.
I've got,
We've got 2 that strongly prefer strength and 1 that can kind of go either way. We need 3 of us to pass. I'm thinking we need to go strength then.
Jason the Scribe, are you still on?
No, he had to go.
No, he's
I
still.
saw him say good luck, I'll have fun, so. Oh, bummer, because I was going to actually give him inspiration for the night.
Let's
'cause he
flip
was
a
the most
coin for
chatty.
it.
You know what? Let's see if that Doherty D&D is on. Doherty, are you still there? If so, we're going to allow Doherty to grant 1 person inspiration. You know, this is where we're engaging the stream holders, and we'll give 1 to Jason if he's on next week. You know, we'll see if he wants to do that. Because he really earned it tonight. He's wrestling. I love that.
Wrestling.
I guess Doherty D&D isn't on, so you guys are stuck without inspiration. So which is it? Is it strength or is it dexterity?
It's strength.
Strength based. Okay, make your rolls. 3 of you got to have successes in order for this to actually work.
Strength saving throw? Yeah. Okay.
No, not a saving throw. Strength check.
Okay, then dirty 20.
20, 16,
There we go.
21. Lythander, who is really not really good at this. But the other 3 of you absolutely start pushing and shoving. Claymore using his barred weapons. Benoit using dexterous shoves, but applying the strength in the right areas. Lythander almost goes down, but is grabbed by Benoit. Ionia never lets go of the Warhammer as you make it to the exit, but only just. Oh, and Lythander has now been giving inspiration as well, it seems, because Doherty seems to have heard us. I don't know if it
Doesn't Lythander already have inspiration from Alex Chem, whatever, the other week?
Oh, yeah.
Lythander has a, I think, a crit die.
Oh, is that what it was?
Yeah.
That's a golden crit. That's different than inspiration, so yeah.
I'm aware.
Our viewers aren't, so a lot of times I do repeat the rules for our viewers who may not be aware, such as inspiration in my games. While the technical rules of 5e are if you have inspiration, you cannot gain another. What I say is, that's right, but we're not going to waste inspiration. So I allow the person using 5e rules to give that inspiration to anybody they want. However, the new one is not lost. So that way, it just switches over to whoever the person wants. Inspiration is just too much fun to lose. To that end, you make it to the exit out this door. However, Benoit, you know what that red light behind you means. The Overseer is not going to let one of its items go. You guys previously, not Lythander, Claymore, and Ionia, they haven't experienced this yet, but you actually saw one of your party members actually it was a complete party wipe as you all lost your number the last time you tried to grab a weapon from one of the Overseer's experiments.
Well, if I already knew that, why would I do it again?
Because that's the mission. You chose to take the mission.
Why would I do this? What have I done?
It must have completely slipped my mind.
What?
Oh, man.
Well, you're the one that said you wanted it in the room.
Oh, man.
So
Well, I mean, we've gone this far. Let's roll with it.
you headed all the way back to the as fast as you can?
As quick as I can.
Literally,
As
as you
you
guys
can,
are hauling
as
butt,
fast as you can.
you know, one of the things that you notice is that it's kind of like you've assaulted or poked the beehive. These individuals from the hallways are following you, but Lythander, you also pick up on other individuals are coming out of other hallways. The biggest problem is actually when you get towards the dining facility that you pass through, which seems to be a central chamber of this inner layout. You get to the dining room chamber. What is your plans, Benoit, for handling that? A room that you normally know could have as much as 100 individuals in there. You guys want to try and hide out?
Well, I'm going to try to find the most direct route back to Haruf, because he's the one who wanted it. Once it's in his hands, let them all attack him.
You know multiple places to engage Haruf because you know where those statues are. Previously, I had you on a beeline back towards that door because Haruf said that he would use it specifically to open the door. And you know that the only Haruf that you've ever met are these various statues that you can talk to that are both givers of missions, usually against the Overseer or against the drones, or thus carrying them out, such as when he told you to go to the control room and do something. Now, Haruf has told you to gain this and that it would then be used to access the room. Do you want to try and make your way to a statue at the back of the dining hall? Do you want to try and make your way to a statue that is elsewhere?
So he doesn't want it. He wants it at the door.
It would be a reasonable assumption by Benoit, having experienced things like this before.
Well, then I'm going to try to figure out the best path that avoids the most contact.
Okay, so then you're definitely going to want to try to avoid the dining room as much as possible. You'll stand a chance of getting lost as you avoid different things. So I want you to we're going to have you make 3 rolls to try and get through various pinch points here based on your intelligence. So I'd like you to make your first intelligence roll. As you all notice when he veers off, and this is very similar to before when he seemed lost at different avenues.
Sorry, guys, we're screwed.
That's nice to hear.
Hey, you did your best.
For yourself.
Hey, you're the one with the Warhammer.
I don't know.
Wait, why are you making all 3 fast? Stop. One roll at a time.
You told me 3.
I did. But we're doing one at a time. We have fun with it. I mean, the first one was a 20, dude. You found like a natural slide down, which was just freaking awesome. You go scooting down this thing, and you guys see this. He literally opened up part of the wall and took a straight shoot down.
Whee!
Hey, sorry about that. I had my button on 3-round burst.
Plot point. I love it. You get your plot point for tonight.
Getting kicked from the range for
anybody
that.
else following him down this chute?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Ione is able to dive down at Lythander too. Claymore, it's a little bit big. I want you to make a dexterity roll, see if you get caught up on this chute, which is not good for Giant Warforged to go down.
Claymore's a little bit chunk.
Maybe we should have set you first, and I could have thrown the hammer down after you to give you a swift kick in the pants to get the rest of the way down.
Maybe. Was that dexterity you said?
Indeed.
All right.
That's fine. You actually do get caught up on a couple of these pinch points, but you're able to maneuver yourself because, again, it's not a trap or anything. You come down last out of the bottom, and luckily the fact that you were slowed allowed Arya to have Ionia get out of the way, Lythander and Benoit at the bottom. Lythander, you had been looking for a place that was digging gems. You realize this chute is a way that down at the bottom is this padded area, and it must be a way that they pass food down from the dining hall that you were near to the bottom. Now, interesting thing down here. You're looking around, and you can hear the sound of picks and whatnot, and you can see various dwarves who are picking away down here.
Gems?
Benoit, you have taken them so far off the map using this chute, and you had used chutes like this before as an express to get to lower floors. You've never been down here into the mine area previously. I want you to make a history check because there's something that one of your previous members told you about. They had a theory. Let's see if you remember it.
All right. Let's find this.
You do. And what that individual told you, and it's the same individual you're looking for now, she had actually made a guess that this place was constantly being made bigger. And it's something that Lythander, who's looking around at this entire mine, you now have it. You're like, ooh, maybe they're digging for gems, this and that. But Benoit, you're like, this is being widened out in a way that's way too big to just be a mine that would follow an ore vein. They're literally digging a new level, exactly like this person had talked about. Yet, you also know you've never seen children in the time that you've been down here. Not when you were number 1, 2, 3, 4, any of them. Any of yourselves. As you all come out into this area, go ahead, Benoit.
So then I'm starting to piece together that each time somebody's put in here, if they can't find a way out, they're in here there permanently. They become part of the whole plan.
That is what your group came to, because one of the things that you noticed was once you hit number 6, they never came back at all.
Oh.
I haven't exposed what number you're on yet. I'll leave that up to you. But yes. And you know where to check on people to actually identify what number they're on, too. That was something your group figured out.
All right, so we're going to keep...
Jumanji style. Tap your breast and have the information screen pop up.
We're going to...
I thought it was the Pip-Boy that you wore.
continue to try to get back to this door.
You have absolutely no clue, having never been on the lower level before. What are your goals to try and find your way out, or do you want to involve the other individuals who are with you? And you still see that Arya is the one that has the item you need.
This is something new. This is someone new. We had to get out of the last place. They were coming after us. I got us out. Now we've got to keep moving and try to find our way back. I've not been here before.
Mm.
Who was us? Because us wasn't all of us. You've been in a group before?
I was in a group originally, yes.
And
what happened to them?
After 6, they never returned.
6?
6 o'clock?
At 6 p.m. at night.
6 o'clock?
They all go to sleep and never come back at 6.
6th day of spring.
oh man.
6 times the crow cost?
6th time the raven says nevermore.
As you are talking, there's no red lights flashing down here. None of the dwarves that you're seeing picking the walls appear to have stopped or noticed you or done anything else yet.
So we're going to try to avoid
You're not going to move on from the 6 what?
drawing any attention, but we're going to try to keep moving as it's pointless to just stand here.
Lythander, make a, you're used to appraising areas, so I want you to make a, Yeah, sorry, it's going to be perception. I can't think of another way to do it.
That's his best quality.
Yep.
How does yours only roll once?
I changed it to do that.
Yeah, you can just turn it on or off. You know, for those of you in your character sheet. Lythander, you're not, only because you went into them upstairs, the rooms that you thought had never been used, you're noticing that part of this level that's being dug out, there are a series of what appear to be alcoves that look like unfinished rooms that they're actually digging out of the living rock.
Boring. Skip. He's much more concerned with the 6 than whatever the heck. Dwarves are always mining. This isn't like out of the norm. This is, I think, what they do for fun. Not really sure. 6. Benoit, you're not escaping this. 6. What?
6 times.
6 times of what?
6 times of no more.
So Ionia was right.
Oh, God.
Raven saying nevermore?
That pretty much sums it up.
Is that the name of your new Warhammer, Ionia?
Nevermore.
Ooh. Has a
I
ring.
actually like that name for a Warhammer.
Nevermore.
Nevermore's from happening. Is there a crow we need to kill? Because I'm not above murdering a crow.
You'd need more than 2.
I got that. You can have a plot point. That was beautiful. That was so subtle. I love it.
Listen,
Oh, I'm just imagining some of our viewers watching going, what? What? Then
A
they'll have
group
to do
of
their
crows
nerd thing and
called a
figure out what you're
murder.
talking about.
listen.
Okay. So you guys are just kind of standing there looking around. Lightenders notice something. You do have some going meta. You guys have some knowledges of what to look for, but give me some intents, give me some ideas, and I'll roll with whatever you want. Whether it be listening to a dwarf overheard talking about gnome tossing, but you only understood the word gnome. Whether it be looking for food, but we're throwing rations. What do you want to do? Give me some ideas.
Thought we were trying to get back to the door.
You just came out of a shoot, so you just want to start wandering around here amongst the dwarves and looking for a doorway? That's the idea?
There was a way they came in. There's got to be a way to go out.
That's true.
Right on the button. All right. Well, I didn't know if you wanted to ask people for directions or what.
Nah.
No, being conspicuous.
Okay. Finding your way out, Benoit, you know again that just like that person who had their hand painted, the lowest levels, the most grunt drones here don't carry access cards. It's one of the reasons why you carry the one that you have once your party had found that. When you're lost, now many of the corners usually have the access points that you've been using. However, down here, most of it appears unfinished. There aren't actually avenues. Some of these rooms have hallways near them, and as you start traveling them, the individuals who are picking and building both in the rooms and carrying things seem unconcerned with you. It's not that the entire place is on lockdown. You know for a fact that the overseer puts on various areas, and usually they can track you well. However, that's why you took the shoot. You used your previous experience to go to a different level. Now you just need to find your way back up. Benoit starts leading you down. He seems to be looking for something. And as he starts getting to more finished areas, it becomes very apparent what he's looking for as he holds the card to some of the corner walls. And finally, one of the ones when he does, the card actually flashes very quickly and presents to him an arrow on which way to go. Then he starts heading up and he leads you to a doorway and a stairway, and suddenly you're heading upstairs. And he uses this time and again because once Haruf has it programmed to go to a certain destination, which is what it does, you start finding yourself being led up floors, 2 passageways to go back towards the area where you know your prey should be technically sleeping and whatnot. A couple times along the way, there are problems. The first time comes in the avenue that you hear footsteps coming that appear like before to be those metal shod footsteps, and they appear to be coming towards you. What do you want to do with that?
Duck into a side room and wait for them to pass.
Side room and pass. So we're going to make a stealth roll. I want you all to make a group stealth roll. Everybody roll stealth, and again, 3 of the 4 will be a victory.
Wah, wah.
Oh man.
You
Here we go.
guys. I got a 6.
Oh.
Ionia stealth. I need Lythander, you do not roll a sleight of hand. It's a stealth roll. I don't know if you have,
gosh.
I don't know if it's a different roll or a different set of stats for you.
It is.
Okay. So 3 of the 4 got above a 10, so we're all good to go. Only Claymore, who sneezed,
Nuh-uh.
and which really makes you laugh because he has no nose. It's like,
Above a 10. You got above a 10.
No, I didn't. I have disadvantage. That's why I said 6.
Oh.
I'm in chainmail armor.
oh.
Hey, I'm not alone.
Oh.
So maybe it was Ionia that sneezed. I don't know. But it was bad. But the footsteps actually turn around and come back to the room that you're at.
Oh damn.
Now the door is closed, but there's a knock on the door. How do you want to respond to it?
We're busy.
Nobody's home.
Benoit sits
Oh,
quietly. Claymore stays quiet as the other 2 encourage them to go away. Then there's a
Benoit
sound
stands
and it
back and
says,
just shakes his head and face palms.
you guys don't understand what's being said, but Benoit, you understand the giantish dwarvish mix as it responds to open the door now.
No hablo español. In Dwarvish.
Come back in an hour.
Decent.
Wait, you speak dwarvish, Lythander?
No.
Oh, then why'd you say in dwarvish?
Like Thander said, in Dwarvish.
Oh. Oh my God.
I'm just gonna stand back and let the two that were heckling the people outside, let them deal with it.
I'll talk slower so
Claymore.
you
Oh my.
understand.
Claymore is like going up the side, like on the side of the wall where the door might like open up, and just like readying.
Trust me, you don't want to come in.
Benoit tries to see if he can punch through one wall and
It's
get
a
to the
stone
other
wall.
room. Oh, okay, then I didn't try that.
Punch
Yeah,
through the
this is all-
stone.
Like I said, everything is being carved out of the living earth here, the mountain itself, out of stone. They're literally, it's like Minecraft gone rampant when somebody just like tunnels and tunnels and tunnels. Making 10,000 rooms that are never being used. That's exactly what they have here. And it only takes moments before the bashing starts on the door, and finally the door comes crashing inward and whatnot, giving Claymore, who is waiting with his strike, the first strike at the top of the round. We're going to leave it as it is on the initiative order. And Claymore, go ahead. You're going to pick it up, make your first strike.
All right, here we go.
Surprise attack.
Strength.
Wow. Claymore brings this straight down. What weapon are you using?
Battle axe.
Battle axe. And cleaves off the front of this individual's head who was totally not expecting it. Straight surprise roll. Boom. Cleaves off the front and the body falls forward, spewing this dead blood and goo across the ground.
Shouldn't have come in.
You guys are all looking stunned. There's nobody else in the hallway. It was just one person banging on the door to open the door.
Why do they want to kill us all of a sudden?
Come in. This is your fault, buddy. Lythander's just talking to this dead person now.
Benoit runs over and quickly checks for any access cards or sticks or anything
And you
like
find
that.
you find the white access card that matches the message stone. There's a message stone there, a white access card, as well as one of the familiar square pouches. I say it's a square pouch, like a backpack. In other words, it's fabric cut square, containing some of the items that are often transported through this place.
Why do they want to kill us all of a sudden?
I think they don't like us.
Claymore goes to drag the body inside the room to try to get it out of view. Try to
Easy
kind
enough,
of
and
hide
it
the
already
body.
started walking in when you killed it. The door is all smashed open where he just kept smashing against it.
Mm-hmm. Just trying to get rid of evidence, at least. Just a little bit.
Beautiful.
I'm going to grab the items and say, hey, let's keep moving.
Are you going to tell us why they want to kill us?
Threaten him with the warhammer that you have.
I'm starting to trust this guy less and less, man. He doesn't answer any of our questions.
I don't know why people want to kill us. Maybe we can stop it.
You know, the last time we got answers, I wrestled him.
Well, Benoit's already a good 20 or 30 feet ahead of you. Are
Darn
you guys
it.
following him?
Yeah.
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 You make it up
Talk and
4
talk.
more levels before the next problem occurs. And that is actually that the passageway ahead spans a bridge, and the bridge has actually fallen down due to time. It's not the first time that Benoit has encountered something like this. You're entering one of the older sections, and they're not always repaired because many of the assets are put to expanding this place in an unnecessary fashion. Some of the older areas fall down. How do you want to counter the bridge? Do you want to try and leap it? Do you want to? It appears to be a 12-foot gap.
How deep down does it go?
Somehow, Claymore, I don't think you're going to make that jump.
The chasm that you are in appears to be a large original cavern that was underground, and they built this bridge to span it. A beautiful set of dwarvish work that was suspended by cables above that have long since rotted out. If you were to not make the jump, you would fall 80 feet.
Ouch.
Pretty much a death fall.
Well,
Yeah.
how about we take a look inside some of these rooms and gather up the sheets off the beds, tie them together, and make a rope.
Sounds good to
An
me.
80-foot rope to go to the bottom?
No, to cross the 12-foot gap.
Is there something on the
We'll
other
tie it
side
to
that we're going to
one
be able to
side.
lasso?
We'll tie it to one side. I'll jump across, tie it to the other side.
Are you a very dexterous person?
Long jumps are actually strength-based, and you can jump your strength score. So, like, I can clear the 12 feet, Benoit can clear the 12 feet. I'm pretty sure Claymore can clear the 12 feet. It might just be you that can't clear the 12 feet.
We could throw him over.
I am
I
like.
don't know if I can. We might be able to throw you 12 feet.
I mean, Claymore is pretty good at shot putting a couple things.
Lysander believes.
Approximately how far did I throw Lythander when I threw him into the pit?
Understanding that it was at a decline throw.
Yeah.
Approximately how far? I ask with my -1 intelligence modifier.
You can't judge distance.
You get no answer as you think about this.
It was some distance.
While
I'm
we
sure I can
gather-
throw it.
While we gather bed sheets, this would be a great
tying
time,
the sheets.
Benoit, for you to answer some questions.
I'm tying sheets together. When I feel we've got enough to span the distance, we'll head over that way.
Grabbing sheets is easy enough. These are older rooms here that were prepared long ago, and you're able to take them off, strip some of the beds. You guys have slept, Benoit, your groups in these rooms before. You strip them down, take them, tie them together. You come back a while later with all the others, and you can actually, one of the last things you heard, you have tons of these sheets now, enough easily to do it, 5, 6, 7, and you could have braided them together. But you've also now heard that others are coming behind you out onto this bridge. You get to the end and you're running, and do you want to stop and tie the rope, or do you just want to throw part of it to them and you just leap across, or what do you want to do? I'm going to hold that thought for a second before you answer. What did the other three of you do while he was gone?
Well, Lysander was helping him collect sheets and trying to ask him questions.
Okay.
Ionia didn't know how long this was going to be going on for, so she started a ritual that potentially, if it was going to take them an hour to gather stuff up, she could have finished, but she doesn't finish.
Yep. Very good. Take a plot point for that. Very realistic. Claymore?
Claymore was just inspecting this broken down bridge already, and just really wondering how the heck we're probably going to get across with a 400-pound warforge and bed sheets.
And that's what you can take a plot point.
What's your
Because
strength score?
What you figured out, Claymore, is that it's not just the distance, it's 400 pounds landing on the other side. Because as you've been walking, you've been noticing that much of the suspension bridge and the cables are frayed, corroded, and, they've held your weight so far, but you also haven't stayed right next to anybody because you've been wise enough to know you are conscious of your weight. So, yeah, it's not about, you put it together very quickly. This is not about the other side, or some of these cables have crumbled either under their own weight or because something heavy was going across them. And you know that weight will be magnified when you hit the ground over there. So you probably don't want to go first. You know that.
Nope.
So I walk through, I give him the end of the sheet, I take off running and jump as far as I can.
You are able to clear it, and you touch down just on the other side, landing, rolling, and a few bricks fall, and you gain to your feet, and you're fine.
And I run across to the other side and tie it up where I can.
Okay. Go around some of the cables to the base. Yep.
All right.
And I holler at the other two to come across, and in that way,
You want to go first, should I?
Claymore has the end of the sheet, so when he hits, if he falls or if he doesn't make the jump, he's still got a hold of the sheet and he can pull himself up.
Exactly. Thank you.
Very
I was
good.
just about to bring that up.
Now, as I said, some of the stones fell away, so it went from a 12-foot gap to a 13-foot gap as Benoit went across it. Who's next?
Lythander, do you want to go first or should I?
I'll go first.
Okay, while Lythander is going across the rope, I'm gonna the bed sheets. I'm gonna pull out my hemp rope and also start tying that to Claymore to give another point of contact, which will hopefully be stronger than potentially be stronger than bed sheets, or at least double the strength or whatever.
Yeah.
Plus,
And
if you come across with the other end, as he's pulling himself up with the bed sheets, we can pull him up with the rope.
Yep.
He'll move even faster.
Yeah.
and
So,
Lythander,
all on you, Lythander.
I was gonna say that I'm gonna make my way over.
What's your strength?
10.
10. You go ahead and make a roll. If you get a 20, I'll give it to you. Otherwise, there is no way you're clearing this. It's a 13-foot gap.
She's not trying to jump it. I thought she was shimmying the rope.
Yeah.
Oh, my apologies. I totally misunderstood. Both Arya and Kitty, you both can have a plot point. I didn't hear you on that one, so you each get a plot point. Shimmying the rope is just going to be a dexterity check. Go ahead and make that for me, please, Lythander.
Yeah. Only person who needs to jump is me.
I mean, I'm going to jump, but
Oh, you're jumping?
yeah, I've got a strength of 14. I can clear 12 feet.
All right, cool. Oh, well, then I could definitely clear this then.
The problem is the force of you landing.
Yeah, it's going to like crumble.
Yep. Lythander, you get across, and you actually realize that the stone is so weak on the other side. You get across it, get off, move out of the way, and you're able to announce to the others just how weak it is. Who's up next?
Me. I'm
Go
running
for
and jumping.
Okay. Ionia, you make your roll and your jump, and whoops. There we go. And how far can you clear?
14 feet.
14. So you should be able to clear just to the other side, just on the edge. With the stones being loose, she hasn't knocked down any more. You make it no problem whatsoever. Now, during this time, like I said, the other things that were coming behind have brought more weight to the bridge. And part of the bridge snaps where Claymore is because of the dwarves that are pursuing behind you, causing the gap to become bigger to 16 feet.
Once I'm over, I'm running to where Benoit has tied up the blanket to at least get the rope wrapped around it a couple of times. So that way, even if it's like, if it slips from our hands, it's still anchored. So that way, then when Claymore jumps, we can try to also help pull him up.
Fantastic idea. So Claymore, what are you going to do?
Claymore's jumping as far as he possibly can with this.
How many feet can you clear?
I've got a strength of 20, so...
Woo! So it's at 16 feet. You're going to do the 10-foot run as well?
Yeah.
That's the only way you can really clear it. So
Yeah.
boom, boom. This 400-pound guy slams down. And as he's doing, you see part of it, part of these braided ropes go twang, 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 as they're splitting under his weight as he comes, and he gets right to the edge. And are you going to go right to the toe edge and leap from the edge? Do you want to leap early, or what do you want to do?
I'm going to leap a little bit early because the edge is going to be very, very brittle, and I'm pretty much just going to slip right under myself if I do that. So I'm going to leap a little bit early.
Brilliant. You leap a couple feet early, figuring you should be able to clear this no problem with a couple feet to spare. And you guys see something absolutely amazing. Despite his massive size, he leaps up into the air, comes across, and as he lands down, this tremendous thud hits. Bricks from the bridge fall down behind him. Two of the cables
As he's
break.
in the air, we're shortening on the rope. And we know we're going to have to start pulling him in.
There you go.
And as he does, the bricks fall out behind him, and you're left standing on the edge. You're still there, and they just pull you forward, stumbling forward, as the rest of the dwarves who had run up are now an easy 20-some feet behind you and start to crowd towards the end. And as they do, because Claymore has weakened some of the things, you see the cables snap that had frayed, and at least 3 or 4 of these dwarves that were pursuing you onto the bridge fall to their doom 80 feet below. At that point, you guys run along, Benoit taking you all the way up, and you get to the passage, the same dead end. Who on earth would defend a dead end? Well, the answer is nobody. Once there was no threat here, the lights and alarms went out. You're back at the same dead end phase. What will you do, Benoit?
Put the hammer to the door and hopefully it'll open up.
You don't have a hammer. What are you talking about?
Well, she does. Somebody does.
Yeah, I've got the hammer.
Hey, bring the hammer up here. We got to put it up against the door to open the door.
Is it like a key? Walking up, casually push the hammer on the door.
No, we had a key point to ask.
Boink, 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 boink. Start hammering on the wall. Swing at the wall real hard.
Now I feel awkward.
She starts tapping on the wall and nothing happens.
Taking a good solid swing at the wall.
Oh God.
Back up.
Make an attack roll.
Oh jeez. Breaks the hammer.
A 12. You grab this thing, swing, and you know how to use a warhammer. It rings out. It smashes against the wall. And little bits of stone flake off of it. But nothing appears to happen.
I don't think it's the right key.
I'm starting to think that maybe you hit your head kind of hard,
Benoit, you know that, again,
Dwarf.
those message stones to talk to Haruf, when you connect through like you did earlier, oftentimes give you the next step and the next clue in what your group needs to do.
So I check it out to see what we're supposed to do next.
Using the same one that came before, once you hold it to the wall, Haruf's voice becomes very clear in the same deal. And he explains quickly, he goes, "Do you have the portal?"
Do I have the what?
The portal weapon. The blue portal weapon?
Yes.
Have you used the energize yet?
No. That's what I forgot to do. Use the energize.
Yes, you must energize it with the same as the energize of the and it starts to crackle and phase out as Haruf is trying to communicate with you. That only happens when the Overseer and Haruf are in conflict with one another. You've seen this before, and you realize that the Overseer is trying to once again shut down Haruf from carrying out the very mission that Haruf has asked you to do. You know these two are in constant conflict. And you know the only energy sources are either charged up from a place or from that dining hall with the goo. Do you have any of the goo with you?
Well, technically.
So by explaining it to the group, we'll say, well, what do we want to do now? Do we want to go back to the dining hall?
Why do we need to go back to the dining hall?
Yeah.
Will
Do I know how far away the closest portal charger is?
Will they try to kill us?
Yeah.
Are we aware of the goop
Why?
yet?
He hasn't told you about it. Well, I think, are you telling them that, Benoit?
What am I telling them?
They're asking whether or not you're telling them about that.
About what?
The need for goo.
Well, yeah, I asked them if they want to go back to the chow hall. Or if they want to find the.
Ionia was actually.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was saying Ionia was actually not asking about the goo. She was asking again why people want to be attacking us, because we don't know anything about the hammer really or any of this stuff.
I tell her because we're in an area we're not supposed to be in. We're trying to find a way out, and we have taken something to get us out that they don't want us to take.
So we need more goo.
What if we could hide the item?
Well, are they chasing us or are they chasing the item?
I don't know.
Oh goodness, do we need the goo or not?
We're gonna need goo.
I have goo.
Find a portal.
My goodness, Claymore, we don't want.
I have a pike and
Claymore?
a dagger, and I could probably extract the goo.
No. Claymore backs away and pulls out his own sword. I will do it myself.
We
A
can
lot of people have hiccups about doing that. Are
Just
you
watch.
sure you
just
can,
get
like,
Ionia to throw up the goo that she ate earlier.
No, I think I've thoroughly digested that by now.
Yeah, she has.
All right. Claymore takes his short sword, grasps it with his left hand, and just pulls slightly until it releases some of his goo from his hand.
You sever some of the veins and whatnot, the wood underneath, the living dark wood and whatnot, and out of it comes that same yellow viscous fluid.
I go over to the Warhammer, and I don't know much or how the heck this thing takes goo, so I just kind of touch the actual hammer part and wipe the goo all over it.
Okay. Arya, is Ionia holding this while he does it, or is he just doing this on his own?
She was holding it. She'll accommodate the act, though.
As you do, is you literally just start to smear some of this from your vine sap, what would be blood for a warforged, your chemicals inside, over this thing. Immediately it starts to glow blue once again, the end of it looking almost like it's a polished gem, this round head on this warhammer, glowing solid blue.
So I looked over at him. I said, "That's the same stuff she was eating upstairs."
Yup. Yes, it was.
Maybe I'll get like magic powers from it or something.
Nope. You'll just puke and pass out. Can we continue? I'd rather not stay on this subject.
Bash in the wall again.
Make another attack roll. You have advantage on it. And as you swing out with this thing, she never actually makes contact with the wall. Because when the hammer gets about 3 feet in the stroke from it, the entire wall bursts inwards, and you guys are actually thrown backwards. Literally. She's knocked right off her feet. Eric, Claymore is not knocked off his feet. Your sheer size and everything holds you in position as she falls back into you, and the other two are pushed back even further and whatnot. The wall pushes inward about 3 to 4 feet, exposing a room on the other side. The wall doesn't collapse, it just moves in and then starts to slowly move back towards you. What do you guys all want to do? There's enough room that you could dive into the room now.
Dive in.
Yeah, dive in.
Let's roll.
As you get into the room, you notice that the entire room is covered with all these cylinders, one of which has a woman sitting inside with a red top and a black skirt.
Did we come see your girlfriend?
I run over and try to work some type of control panel to release them.
Running your hands along the various ones, the words that you can read easily in the Giantish that say open and have a number along the sides of it, you open it up. And as you do, a voice rings out in the room and it says, "Number 7, now released." And the voice comes from Haruf at the far end and says, the voice continues and it says, "Benoit, you have been a most successful servant. Please place the item in the receptacle at Haruf's feet so that Haruf can have others use it appropriately."
Oh, man.
I asked her for the Warhammer to go place it in the receptacle at the end of the room. And I look around at some of the other cylinders and say, should we let the rest of them out?
The others appear empty. There's only the one, like I said, only the one was occupied by the woman in red. These are for creating individuals, but they have not been used right now. So, Arya, he asked Ionia a question.
Oh, I missed the question.
He was asking for the Warhammer?
He can have it.
Cool.
I take it over and place it in the receptacle.
You go over to the feet of Haruf, placing the Warhammer against it, and again, the body of Haruf is so small, it's a character, like a bobblehead, that the handle actually sticks up and rests against Haruf's mouth. And that's where we'll call it tonight, as this individual walks out of the chamber that she has now been released from, a long rapier at her side. And she draws the rapier, looking at all of you strangers, and then sees Benoit, and says, "Benoit?" And you realize that these two know each other. I want to welcome you all to level 2. I want to thank you for playing tonight. You have had a fantastic time. You not only overcame your combatants, you got away, you got through some of the natures, you found out some of the lore here, as well as releasing another individual. You have a very well-earned level 2. Level up your characters before next week. Let's say goodbye to all our guests. I'll let each one of you sign off, talk about some of the things that you're doing. Aria, Kitty, Eric, let's go with the ladies first. Aria, why don't you lead off? Tell everybody what you got planned, where they can follow you, maybe. What's going on as far as art or anything else?
For anyone who wants to follow me, you can see my Twitter here. I do most of my posting and everything on Twitter. I post like doodles and casual art projects. I work on a few formal projects every single week, like homebrew magic items that I use in my own tables that I've run in the past or I'm currently running. I do live tweets, not just for this game that I play in, but also for the games that I run on Friday and the games that I participate in on Thursdays and Sundays. So there's always all sorts of funny D&D conversations and posts that are happening on my Twitter, and I encourage you to go follow that if you like that kind of stuff.
Fantastic. How about you, Kitty?
I am working on a YouTube video. It should be up sometime this week,
Ooh.
which is exciting.
Yeah.
So you can always check that out. My YouTube channel doesn't have anything right now, so saying look up Kitty Doe won't lead you to anywhere until after the video is up. But, you know, Twitter, Instagram, everything I am is just Kitty Doe because it's an open name that happens to work well for me.
Beauty. How about you, Eric?
So if you already see my Twitter stuff, but it's maximum effort 6153. But yeah, I'm pretty new to Twitter, so you know, I'm yeah, like I don't post a lot, at least not yet. But if you want to follow me, go ahead. That'd be awesome. Other than that, really, I'm not really working on anything. I'm just here having fun with you guys and, you know, all the viewers here. So that's pretty much me.
Wait, if I remember, you play Elite Dangerous, right?
Oh, well, yeah, I do.
Yeah.
That's true.
You'll have to, you know, not that I'm telling you to rat you out right now, but hey, if you're ever willing to later on, talk to our guys about Elite Dangerous or whatnot, or maybe one of us could follow you or meet you there, or just call on you for help as a fuel rat. Lord knows I need those once in a while. So, Brock, why don't you tell us about yourself? What are your plans for this week? Do you like to game online? Do you do anything like that? I know you got Twitter for all of us here to follow you and kind of chat.
I do. There won't be a whole lot of posting on Twitter. I'm very new to it. I think it's about 5 days old.
Sweet.
Yep.
And I'm constantly busy. I don't really have any time to game other than what I do here. Between full-time work and full-time school and raising a family, I got zero time.
Watching that Twitter mustache hang out on Lythander. You know, well, that's great. You know, so you're basically a Twitter virgin, and, you know, anybody who's looking for that Twitter version might want to follow you just to give you hints on what to do, what to talk about, and do all that stuff. I noticed your American flag and your local hat that you're wearing, so I'm guessing you're a pro-union guy, pro-America guy, which is really awesome and whatnot. Love to have that on the show, especially when we're talking about a Relics of War, where we have a lot of vets and things like that. So I just want to thank you all for playing tonight. I'm looking forward to next week already. I want to thank all our viewers for watching, for chiming in. Jason, if you're on next week and you're watching this later on, know that you have an inspiration to give out to our audience as well. Thanks, Dory D&D, for chiming in, and our many others who chose to just be with us, be loving, and share the adventure. You guys were awesome tonight. Welcome to Level 2. We'll see you all next week. God bless. We'll see you later, everybody.
See ya.
Bye, guys.
Good night.